So our next panel is all about optimizing profit, which is what we all want to do. And it's all about optimizing profit through enhancing and adapting and enabling technological solutions. Now, your moderator for this panel is another brilliant African aviation journalist. Tatenda Karuwa is from Simple Flying. So Simple Flying and Aviadev have worked together since Simple Flying was created in 2019. And within 3 years, it went from a blog to the biggest aviation website in the world in terms of page views. Tatenda is an amazing journalist. He covers and has a massive passion specifically here in sub-Saharan Africa, and he's going to do an amazing job. So please, we'll welcome Tatenda, but walk slowly because Susie's going to entertain us again.
We can't get tired of that. Thank you. Thank you very much, John, for the wonderful introduction. As you know, I only joined Simple Flying last year, January 2023. And, one of the first things my managing editor, who some of you might know, Joanna Bailey, said to me was, you need to meet John Howell. I need to introduce you to John. And I was just like, okay. And we met, and through John, I've met so many incredible people in this industry, which includes the 5 amazing panelists we have today. So, without further ado, I'm just going to start with Nick Ashton. Come up, Nick, the global airline lead at Protect Group. Welcome. And next up, this is a person who needs no introduction. A lot of us are very familiar with her. She's a wonderful person in the industry. Achma. Ashma Asokan. Welcome, Achma. You can just sit next to Nick there. And next up is the head of business development at SITA, Deepak. Welcome. And the next panelist is one who comes from the previous destination of Aviadev last year, Nairobi. So welcome, Judy. Come up. Judy is the managing director of DPO Pay by Network. And last, and definitely not least, is Richard, the commercial director for Europe, Middle East, Asia Pacific at Q System Solutions. So our panel today is one that sparks a lot of interest. You know, when people hear about AI and technology, a lot of people, their heads rush to, oh, I'm going to lose my job. Well, a lot of people, yes, but a lot of jobs are also created in that process. And I think that's what we need to uncover today, the opportunities that AI brings. So our topic is profit optimization. Utilizing AI and cutting-edge technologies to enhance efficiency, visibility, and revenue. So we just have a poll with 3 options. I don't know if we can put it up. So it's how often do you use AI in your everyday and working life? So have a think about it. Your phones, even your cars, as you go to work, your commute. How often do you use AI? Every day in some form? Only once or twice? Or you've never used artificial intelligence? But with that said, welcome everyone. Let's get into it. So technology and innovation will continue to drive prosperity in African aviation. So our session will just focus on how these new approaches can be harnessed to drive profitability today and in the future for both airports and airlines. So just to get a view of where you guys see technology playing a role in African aviation, I'll just start with you, Deepak. Um, as an IT solutions provider, how do you view airlines' profitability, and what role does technology play in improving efficiency?
Yeah, as SITA is an IT solution provider, and as many of you would know, the SITA is co-owned by Airlines. So they own the company and they form the board. So we get a good visibility of what the challenges are, and our areas are typically, we take it from them on various meetings, and we build up on reducing the operating costs. I come personally from the aircraft unit of SITA. Our key areas on which we are focusing on, first is the fuel, because that's a significant part of the cost, almost 30-35% of the direct operating cost. Second one, which is coming up, is around the sustainability, decarbonization, compliance, costs associated with them, and very little alignment on that. So that's one thing which we are working on. And finally, what we are working on is, which is very important, we find is cost associated with the disruption and the diversion. So these are the three key areas for us at aircraft unit of SITA for driving. And cost optimization, profitability can be driven by two factors. Either you increase the revenue or you reduce the cost. We focus on the cost.
Yeah, I think it's very important as airlines look to implement new technologies. There's a lot of costs involved, which they constantly have to look at. And I think what's very important as well is the engagement with passengers. You, Nick, are obviously big on that. And if you look at everyone in this room, except maybe those who live here, we are all passengers of some form. We all flew here on some airline. So from your perspective, on a passenger engagement side, how do you help airlines engage better with your customers, and how can they utilize technology to help with their revenue management?
So I'll preface this by saying I'm a non-technical person who joined Airline 17 years ago, but learned the importance of technology as I went through my journey. So my background primarily has been in airline partnerships and alliances. So for the longest time, airline partnerships have been based on legacy technology. So we've used Edifact to drive interline and code share. And it's done a job, but it's probably not fit for purpose in terms of where we want to go as an industry. So airlines today are looking to develop as retailers. We're in an environment where we have to put the best product, the right product, in the right place, at the right time, at the right price for our customers. In this retailing environment, it's important to use technology in the form of interrogating data, understanding who our customers are to ensure that we're doing precisely that. And at the Protect Group, we use AI, we use ML to drive our Refund Protect product, which is a dynamically priced, dynamic product-based embedded ancillary. So we incorporate that as a widget into the booking flow to help airlines develop their retailing capabilities. Now, we're all involved in the ecosystem. Airline distribution has been an interesting mix of channels, different markets, different channels, different priorities. But as we develop offer order, as we develop these offer management systems, knowing our customer and doing exactly as I said before, putting the curated offer in front of them is what's going to be important. And leveraging technology to curate that offer, but equally importantly, service customers when purchasing, flights, when experiencing disruption, when actioning a refund, as we offer, is imperative.
Yeah, well, I think that's very important. And, also with passengers, it's not just flying with an airline. Your experience with an airline starts even from, the moment you're looking to book a flight or travel.
It starts with the search. It starts with the planning phase. I want to go somewhere. I want to do something. Where do I go? Where do I go for inspiration? Where do I go for details? Where do I go to book the flight? Do I go to an OTA? Do I go to a physical travel agent? Do I go into the airline's booking flow? The most important thing is to present what the customer is looking for. And the options to do that are ever increasing.
Absolutely. And I think, just as you go through that process of booking your flight and traveling, obviously the most important part is now the payment, which obviously none of us can skip. And I'll just come to you, Judy, since you're definitely big on that. And I just want to understand and get the audience to understand what role does technology play in the payment system, and how can African airlines in particular utilize these new technologies to offer different solutions, and how important is it to have those options?
Yeah, thanks, Tatenda. So payments is technology. We call ourselves fintech, which is financial technology. And for us, it's around how the digitization has taken up, mostly post-COVID. So what you see is a lot of people now going online to make payments, rather than previously where they make payments physically on a card, on a PDQ. So that means prevalence of fraud becomes high, and this is where we use AI to look at learnings, machine learning, and predictive analysis to pick any anomalies that would come up out of to pick fraudulent patterns before they happen. And using this technology, we're able to save a lot of airlines cash that would have been lost through fraud. Yeah.
Okay, so airlines do have that protection when
Correct.
customers are paying for services.
Yes. At DPO, we pride ourselves for our fraud system, which uses machine learning. And through this predictive analysis, we're able to pick anomalies in terms of any fraud attacks that are coming, any foreign cards, any basically transaction patterns that do not suit what we've previously seen from that airline in terms of the customers buying tickets. So we are quickly able to pick this and stop it before the airline loses any cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. And but just another thing on paying for these services. I know airlines. We've heard a lot about tourism. Airlines and the aviation industry playing a big role in tourism. And you've got so many different nationalities on a plane. You can have an Ethiopian Airlines, for example, flying passengers from Dubai, from India, all the way to Namibia, for example. How do airlines handle these multiple currencies coming in, and what role do you play in making that more efficient?
Yeah, so thanks. Maybe a bit of introduction into DPO. We are part of a bigger group called Network. Network International is based out of Dubai. We are present in 50 markets in Middle East and Africa. And this means we have local offices, we do local processing in the local currency. And because of that, we're able to meet the customer needs. So if you want to pay through a mobile money or card or the local form of payment, we're able to offer that because of our presence in these markets. And we're also able to settle the airline in their preferred bank accounts. So that means any preferred currency as well. So that is what we do in payments. And that's why we try and establish ourselves in as many markets, because we believe payments is a local business.
Okay. And obviously, airlines try to be as visible as possible and sell as many tickets as possible, even in regions where they're not present. And I think Achma, that's where you can just give us a bit of insight into that. You know, how you utilize new solutions to ensure that African airlines are as visible as possible, and how does this contribute to generating revenue?
Thank you, Tatenda. We, AirlinePros, has been around for over 20 years now. And whether you had technology or you didn't have technology, we had a mandate that was given to us by the airlines, who we represented. And that was to make sure that we reach the right audience for the right products at the right time and at the right price. So we worked hard to build automation internally to make sure that we were able to deliver that mandate at the right, in a cost-effective manner. So that, you know, has taken a lot of the technology available along the journey to where we are today. And I'm really excited about using AI and machine learning and other technology which will help us to make it better in servicing our clients. So, I mean, right now, if we look, you know, at areas like demand forecasting, you know, we do this. We have tools, analytical tools like MIDT. We buy stuff from Cerium. We use ATPCO, Market View, all kinds of tools that we purchase to provide the service that we provide for our airlines. And that, you know, is how we do demand forecasting. We help our airlines to go and meet with the right audiences. I mean, when we look at a market like the US, we have 12,000 agents, and we have to target different groups for different airlines, because not one shoe fits all. We have to find the right people who want to sell Africa. And that, again, there are people who want to go to West Africa, and there are people who want to go to Sub-Saharan Africa, and there are people who only want to go to North Africa. So this is a very, tedious job when you do it manually. So believe me, you know, AI and machine learning is absolutely welcome. We also do customer service for all our client airlines. Again, to provide the right type of customer service for each airline, again, is a job in itself. And again, I feel that, you know, using something like AI to be able to find the personal preferences of our clients would, again, make it so much more valuable, you know, into when we have something like AI and machine learning. There's just an array of things that we do where I believe that AI, machine learning will just take us to a totally different level. And profit optimization, that's something we all aim to achieve. And if we, as an AirlinePros, our mandate is to make sure that we deliver to our airlines. And our main job is to exceed those expectations. And we've always done that.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's very important, obviously, from where we've come from and where we are now, that, you know, these technologies can really, you know, reduce the workload on humans and the staff, and, you know, get a lot of jobs done quicker, and which obviously goes to increasing efficiency and profits as well. But in all of that, you know, in implementing new technology and finding new solutions, there's obviously a lot of costs involved. I understand that someone said to me, you know, technology is not cheap at times. So, you know, Richard, could you just take us through how, you know, airlines can navigate, you know, moving into the modern world, implementing new technology, but, you know, also handling the costs of that implementation?
Sure. Thank you, Tatenda, and thank you, everyone. Technology is there to support the airlines, definitely in all their processes and the way they do things. So we, as a company, invest in technology. We are on the cloud, so that helps reducing those costs. We develop AI, so we'll be providing an AI tool to sell tickets directly to the customers using WhatsApp or any other common platform. We are on the development phase, and again, the idea of reducing costs. But what we've seen and what we see is that even though the technology is there and exists and is available to airlines, we see sometimes that airlines do not have the inside resources to support this technology. So we think that the airline should, at the same time that they buy technology, invest in training and human resources to support the technology. And you can then divert some of the resources in being more productive, right? Finding new ways, because what an airline should try and reduce as much as possible is the dependency on the technical providers, right? So we transfer the knowledge when we migrate and when we give the tools to the airlines, but we think that airlines should have more human resources, more technology-driven people to understand the capabilities that they have been given and also what they can do with it in order, again, to optimize their resources and their results, which will drive, at some point, reducing costs.
Okay. So, you want to add anything, Nick?
I do. It comes back to something which is simple in concept, but very difficult in execution, and that's know your customer. Know your customer when they come into your environment. And it's complex because Nick Ashton can be one customer one day and another customer the next day, when traveling for business or when traveling with a family. When, even on the same journey, my pressure to come here, I actually missed my first flight. There was so much traffic on the M4, but I wasn't too worried because I knew I had a bit of time, I had a buffer. But on the way back, I'm pretty stressed because it's my sister's 40th birthday. So my persona, and I can't miss my flight, otherwise my mum and dad are going to really tell me off. Still in my 40s and getting told off by my parents. But I'm a different persona, and you need to know who I am. You need to know who I am when I'm coming into the booking flow, what I'm looking for, and you need to know who I am in the journey as well. And I think how we leverage technology, how we use the systems to do that is imperative. We've seen other examples. You know, if you think about Amazon, for example, when you go, and we always use Amazon as an example, but they know us. They know when we go in exactly what we're looking for. And that's kind of where we need to get to. But like I say, it's simple in concept, but difficult in execution.
Yeah, I think it's very important, knowing your customers, knowing exactly what they need, and being able to, deliver those products that they need. But I guess, there might be also some risks involved of, for example, customers, how much information they really want airlines to have, to know about them. Would that not be a factor in, getting to know your customers?
It's extremely important. So data protection, and we have rules governing this, is imperative. There are legal issues governing this. So whatever we do, however the customer's coming in, however we interrogate data, we have to ensure that we are compliant. But we are operating in an integrated ecosystem, whether it's with the reservation systems, whether it's with the OTAs, whether it's the airlines themselves. So it's a complicated landscape that we need to navigate with compliance in mind.
Okay. No, absolutely. And, I think one other thing that's important in this day and age is as you interact with customers and passengers, we've seen a lot of, I think a lot of us have come across, chatbots For example, when you probably have a query with a certain company, not just airlines, you have this chatbot and it's not exactly giving you what you need. Would any of you want to take on this? How important is that human factor, when still interacting with your customers? Although AI can make it a lot faster or efficient, how important is that human interaction?
I think you'll never get rid of the human interaction.
No. Yeah.
And it's a critical part of any customer journey. If you just let the chatbot get on to answering there are things the chatbot can do, which is repetitive, which is not complicated. But when you have a disruption on the flight and you have irate passengers, the last thing they want to do is hear someone say, "Thank you very much, how can we help you?" That is totally not something that's important when you have a crisis on hand. No. So I think the human element will never go away, but it will make life easier. Chatbot definitely does, and it reduces the amount of stress levels for a customer service agent to be able to answer the real queries, the real crises in a better way. So it takes away all the noise, in other words.
I agree. You have chatbots that are effective, some that are less, but definitely you need a human being behind that can control complicated situations. You can teach the AI as much as you can, and it will work within some boundaries that the airline will set up. But you will need someone at some point to interact with you. And complex situation like a disruption, without naming a major airline, had a major crisis, couldn't handle the flow of passengers because they had to cancel hundreds of flights and it was impossible to reach them. So again, technology is there to support the airlines, but you need an equal interest and investment in human being to support whatever can come and cannot be envisaged in the first stage.
And I think AI is taking the whole platform like as a big storm, and it is right in our face every day. But I think we should take it as a normal evolution of a technology, the way we have seen the normal evolution, the IT, when we first got into the word processor, then the email. They all had its enhancements. So this will this will continue to stay, and this will help us improve our job. I think let's not make too much of noise about it, in my view. They're good, very effective, and we should use it.
They can be. And I'm going to give a specific example that covers disruption and the integrated ecosystem that happened to me 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to name the airline, but I was flying from Rome to Frankfurt, and there was mass disruption at Frankfurt. So my flight back to the UK was cancelled. Now, I'd booked this flight online, but I'd also booked parking at Heathrow. I was trying to be a good consumer. I'm in the digital environment. These two things weren't linked, by the way, but the flight was cancelled. And it took a couple of hours to get rebooked. That in itself was a little bit frustrating. And I'm sure we've all been through chatbots, got to a certain point and given up and tried calling. Anyway, I'm going to miss my parking. So the first thing I do is go online to try and manage my booking at Heathrow. Can't do it. They say, you're going to need to call somebody. Tried calling somebody. Our offices are open from 9 till 8 in the evening. It was 8:15. I've got nobody to talk to. And I know that I'm going to incur a penalty fee for nothing to do with me when I get to pick the car up. So I go and pick the car up, I go to the machine, I put my ticket in, it charges me £40. There was nobody there for me to talk to, say, hey, listen, I'm going to need a receipt, I'm going to have to claim afterwards, I've got a bit of work to do because we had this cancellation. Press the button to talk to a human being, which I'd been desperate to do for a little while now, and they said, I'm very sorry, sir, there's nothing we can do with this, we're a third-party company providing the services for Heathrow. So what do I need to do? You need to go back to Heathrow to input all your details so we can generate a receipt for a claim. So I think the point here is, and I totally agree, I think the AI, the chatbots, etc., are great to get us to a certain stage with replicable processes, with things that are easy. And it's something we have at Protect. We use AI to process the vast majority of our refund claims, and we cover 90% in about 4 hours. But we know we need a team of dedicated customer service agents for that 10%. For that 10% where perhaps the AI isn't approving within that time I've mentioned, and where they do need to talk to somebody. So I think it's very much around how we use the technology, we leverage the technology to improve both the offer, but equally importantly, the servicing.
Okay. Yeah, so we absolutely have no problems with chatbots, as long as they're programmed and trained the right way, and you still have that human intervention possible to be able to, efficiently serve the customer's needs. And, one question that someone asked me yesterday, which, I thought was very interesting to just bring up and, hear your thoughts on it. I know, Deepak, you're involved in aircraft technology. Just looking ahead into the future, I don't know how long into the future, but would we ever see an aircraft fly itself? And, would people want to fly on an aircraft where, there's no captain greeting you, it's just, hey guys, welcome.
Is that a poll question?
I think sometime eventually it might, but how far we really don't know. And I think it's always a discomfort is an area which can be, at a lot of time, can be compensated by economics. Simplest of the simple example I can take is MAX. After the MAX incidents, people said, we won't fly MAX. We won't have people stop flying MAX. No, they're actually getting more orders. So somewhere, if that becomes a bone of contention, if that becomes a difficult issue, I believe that initially it is the economics which will drive to bring back the use of that specific equipment. And as people will get comfortable, they will get over with it. Similar happens with the flight. What I see in the near term, I would say near to mid-term, is that on a long haul, number of pilots may not be that many. There would be some level of management from the ground would be there, but aircraft without a pilot, nothing. I would be very, very uncomfortable getting on that myself. Yeah, but I think they could be with the communication improving so many, the satellites becoming so strong. We already see the aircraft is quite automated even today. It just goes to the next level of automation, as we say.
I'm sure there are pilots in the audience, so I won't be happy to hear that we will get rid of the pilots, definitely. I will personally not feeling very comfortable of going into a cockpit where there's no human being behind the
I think it's just cockpit. Like if you were going into an Uber without a driver, I'm not sure I would feel comfortable.
We are having the helicopters now.
Yeah, but we've already...
getting the air taxis.
We already started to see that in some parts of the world, and some people are very comfortable because they don't want that human interaction as well. And
I like human interaction. I privilege that. But definitely, the technology and AI is there. It's evolving. We are investing in AI. We see a lot of good results of what we are building. So I think it's something that you cannot put aside. It's like what you mentioned with e-ticketing, what was it, 20 years ago? Everybody say, oh no, I want my paper ticket. Yeah. So it's going to move. Teslas, right? It's going to evolve, definitely.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's clear that AI cannot exist on its own. It's going to have to exist with some human component going forward. And then maybe at some point, many, many years later, maybe then we'll have the confidence.
It takes time.
Yeah, but it will take time. It will have to go together, AI and the human component as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Richard, you mentioned that maybe some pilots, if there are any in the room, wouldn't be too happy to hear that. But obviously, they would still be involved in that process of, making sure the technology knows exactly what it's doing and is able to do, their job. It's not like they're getting replaced, but more, adapting with the implementation.
And it drives to the question, I mean, there is a big unemployment issue in every society. So do you want AI to take over some of the jobs while you still have the human resources that can do the job? That's also another question. And I think that's something that the society as a whole should ask the question.
Yeah, definitely. That's something for the audience to think about, and obviously, just have a chat with any one of us if you have any questions on that. But I think another important thing is for an airline to in their operations, there's a lot of technologies involved, a lot of solutions. I mean, we have 5 different solutions on this panel. Achma, how can airlines establish cost-effective collaborations with all these various technology providers to maximize revenue through their digital channels?
So when it comes to technology providers, there are a lot of technology providers in the industry at every level of the operational process. A couple of people that I personally have worked with, one is DoHop, who is a virtual interlining service provider, which is very important, and I think they work really well with low-cost carriers. Yeah. In the old days, we used to have IATA, the multilateral interline traffic agreements, which were very complicated, and it took a lot of hard work to make that happen. But with DoHop, it's a new technology where you do virtual interlining. Another one is PlusGrade. PlusGrade is a technology provider who does bid-based upgrades. When you have an empty front of the bus, front of the aircraft, and you want to fill it up, you get someone like PlusGrade to go out and bid for existing passengers to upgrade themselves into the business class cabin, which is another way of making money for the airline. Another one I know very well is also EveryMundo, but I think EveryMundo has now switched to Pros, AirPros. So there's these people, and then of course the NDC aggregators who help airlines get direct connects for their passengers directly to consumers. So there's a lot of areas right now. I'm not the most savvy when it comes to technology providers, but I know the few that are really good, and those are the ones that I work with.
You didn't mention Q.
Wow. I'm sure it was coming.
Sorry. Of course, there is all the GDSs. I cannot just say Q because I think Amadeus is out there, so Sabre, so is Galileo. So all these people are technology providers who assist airlines in getting the profit that they seek.
Yeah, definitely. I think also that you mentioned bidding for upgrades on, I won't mention the airline, I won't try and market anyone, but I think what I saw, which was very lovely, was when I was flying here from Joburg, as soon as I was checking in, about 24 hours before, they sent a prompt and said, would you like to bid for an upgrade? And I put a minimum offer, which I thought was very cheap. And in the morning, they sent an email saying your upgrade has been accepted. Congratulations. And it was a very good thing to see, because they're obviously selling a seat that obviously wasn't going to be filled on the flight. And I think it's a very important option for customers as well, who maybe want to get into business class at a cheaper price.
Mm-hmm. It's a win-win proposition,
yes,
because
definitely.
the airlines make money out of it, as well as the passenger enjoys the comfort.
Yes, exactly.
Everything you just mentioned develops the retail proposition, and I have to smile because I'm formerly of the DoHop parish. So when I mentioned my frustrations with traditional technology, with interline and code share, I actually brought the DoHop platform into Welling, because what I wanted to do was take advantage of what airlines were doing with APIs, the APIs that you're pushing out to the OTAs, etc. And I just couldn't understand why we couldn't connect the best content with the best content. So even within a group like IAG, we weren't doing that. We were limited in terms of what we could offer. Even on joint ventures, I looked after the joint venture between Vueling and Iberia on Barcelona, Madrid, and we had to exclude stuff. So, well, hold on. I mean, the technology's worked for a while. We can ticket this, we can sell it. But really, in a joint venture, I need to be able to sell full content. So I liked it so much, I ended up joining them. But it is an example of where such technologies can really help airlines talk to their customers. You're extending your network. Over the longest time, full-service carriers haven't connected to low-cost carriers. It's still next to impossible. Well, it isn't with the likes of Duhop. And as we march into this world of NDC, interlines with offers and orders, this is going to come. So technology is driving change that is better for the traveling customer, better for the airlines, and better for all of us.
Okay. No, absolutely. And I think a very important thing is, particularly, let's say, focusing on African airlines. How do airlines manage, integration of new solutions into, the existing systems?
I don't think it's that difficult. It's just, I think a lot of African airlines don't know the existence of many of these things. I mean, I'm talking as someone who was in an African airline for many years of my life. And I'm telling you, I was stupid. I didn't know half the things I know today at that point in time. And, when somebody came to me and said, can we join Airlines Reporting Corporation in the US? And I said, how much is it going to cost? $55,000. I said, are you crazy? I can't pay salaries. And you want me to spend $55,000 on joining something way out there? But I can tell you today, we did negotiate with the Airlines Reporting Corporation to reduce their costs, but it's a no-brainer. Airlines should join ARC just because of the big market, the high yield market that they will have access to. And it's not that expensive anymore. So there are things like that, there's so many, this Duhop proposition. I mean, I don't know how many African airlines even know about it.
Oh,
it's known, I would say. I mean, it's known now,
yeah?
It's growing, yeah.
But it's not been out there, right?
Exactly.
And like every mundo.
Technology is there to support it, and airlines know about it. It's just a matter of, nurturing and educating the airlines in what is there available. Yeah.
And again, with regards to every mundo, it's traffic to your website, gets traffic onto your website. And these are all little ways to increase the revenue that we're all chasing.
But every mundo has become very expensive now that there are pros, so it might not be a good alternative. We have a solution for that, as equal as every mundo. But what we see as when we provide our technology is to build a partnership with the airlines and understanding where are their pain points. And when it comes to charging the airline, we charge them when they have revenue. So it's on a per
variable
passenger
cost.
Boarded, that's all. Yeah. So it makes a big difference when it comes to cost.
So I always say that to airlines. I always say, please, if you're spending money, make it a variable cost proposition.
Exactly.
So that you get revenue and you pay out of that revenue.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and also just to add, for us at Network, we do not charge any integration fees. We do the integration free of charge so that we enable you to collect payments in a simple and painless way. So we just try not to make it as a hurdle for you to collect payments. So if you have a website, you're doing BSP, ARC, we're available to do that processing for you at no implementation or integration costs. We just charge a transaction fee.
And understanding the client is important, yeah?
Yeah.
You might you will have a different pitch when you talk to a legacy carrier and a startup. Startup cash flow is an issue, right? So you cannot charge upfront what you would charge to another carrier. So you have to understand, and we are a small company, so we adapt also to our audience, and that's what can make the difference sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the same
So
thing.
you are basically, doing everything for the airlines, handling the integration at, no additional cost.
Correct. Yeah.
And we work with Judy.
Yes, very closely.
It's know your customer. Your customer's the airline.
Correct.
So what products and services the airline wants? And for me, the role of Q, as with the other tech providers in the room, is to enable, is to deliver those products and services, including the likes of refund protection, that airlines want to see and offer to their customers in turn. So I think that's crucial in terms of how you enable that.
All right. So, after implementing these technologies, are you therefore, involved in making sure that they're used efficiently and to, the best of, to their full capabilities?
We do train the trainer, so we provide a full training to the airline for them to get the knowledge on the system, on all the system they selected. And from there, it's a team project, right? Where you will have the airline, when you will have the provider, when you will have the third-party partners, like for example, a payment gateway or airport providers, and you build it up. Again, it's a long-term project. To change a reservation system is a long project, right? And it shouldn't be taken lightly. There's a lot of human resources involved, a lot of cost involved. So it's a project that you build together and with precise milestone, precise dates and deadlines. Because again, if it's an airline that does the point-to-point that works alone and has very limited connectivity with other carriers, it's easy. But when you talk with airlines that have interline or codeshare or GDS distribution, you have a lot of partners involved, and it complexifies the implementation itself.
Okay. All right, we just have a few minutes left. So just to wrap up, looking into the future, let's say the next 5 to 10 years, sort of come to you, Achma. When I was listening to the podcast with John, I don't know how many people listened to it. I think one very interesting thing is when you said you started working in the aviation industry at a time when agents wrote tickets with their hands. And, we've obviously come a very long way from that. In what ways would you like to see African airlines and stakeholders utilize technology to, advance the African aviation landscape?
Firstly, let me tell you, at AirlinePros, there's a lot of them here. We're all airline professionals, ex-airline professionals. So we feel the pain of being inside an airline and what we had to do inside there. So when I look back, one of the most painful instances in my life, today we had a panel talking about aircraft financing. The aircraft financing that we get in Africa is unbelievable. Having lived outside of Africa for a while now, I've just realized it was crazy. We paid phenomenal amounts compared to other airlines in the world. And what was that? It is a perception of risk.
Yes.
There's a high risk premium that we in Africa pay. And I believe that with AI and more accurate data and more information that we can provide for tracking all this, what the safety record is, what the security, all that kind of things, if we can have a database where we're able to prove to these financiers that, hey, we're no riskier than Belgium or whichever country in the world. I think, to me, that is one aspect of AI that I would love to see, that in Africa we can get better lease rates. It kills us, the lease rates, and I know that from pure experience. Of course, there's so many things that AI can do for us in terms of just the operational efficiencies, the demand, the revenue generation, I could sit here and list a bunch of things, but the time is up.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm happy to talk to anybody out there if they would like to talk to me later and tell them exactly all the different things that AI can do for airlines to make that profit that we are all looking for.
Okay, definitely. Thank you very much. I think just before we go, let's just see the poll results. Right, how often do you use AI in your everyday work life? 8% have never used it. Wow, interesting. And 63%, I'm still experimenting. Well, I think that's good to know and a good point to end. If anyone still wants to continue this conversation with any of our lovely panelists here and technology providers, feel free to go see them. I understand some of them have stands outside. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our AI and tech panel today. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Space and time. They have always been connected. A delicate balance. Two ingredients needed for experience to happen. Our time is our own. To reflect, to dream. But we need space to grow, to make those dreams reality. Namibia gives you that space. Our country is a celebration of contrast, of people, culture, nature, and 1,000 colors. But it's also a place where time and space exist in harmony. So whether it's the highest dunes, the oldest desert, or the clearest night sky, let Namibia give you the perfect space for you to take your time. Time to explore or to stand still. To find yourself or lose yourself, to connect with old friends or make new ones, to experience and savor new sights, sounds, and flavors, to stop and appreciate not just the little, but the big things in life too. Time to experience things your way, sustainably and responsibly, all in a space that is bursting with welcome. So join us and visit Namibia, because here, time and space are both on your side.